Okay, so we are talking about part 11 today. How many of you want to go into like welding or something like that? Anybody in here interested in welding or going down that path of building things or anything? No, not really. Okay. Well, these are the type of problems that what's called fabrication or sheet metal work, that type of things, deal with problems like this all the time where they have to measure things out, space things evenly or space them out wherever they need to go for a piece of machinery that's being bought or a piece that needs to be replaced or things like that. So machinist problems are the things that we're going to be dealing with today and tomorrow. So today we're just going to worry about this front page and the back page of this first sheet. The other pages we will talk about tomorrow. Okay, so the only ones I have the answers for, right or wrong in there right now, are the first ones. As I know you can work ahead and you're more than welcome to work ahead. I just don't want you submitting it early. I want you to have something to do tomorrow. Okay, so you can't enter your answers yet for any but these first two pages. So in this problem, this picture here is a picture of metal that's got these 4 holes, these cutouts in it. Okay? And we're given some information about this piece of metal that we're working with here. And we know that from the middle of this circle to the edge right here, okay, this is called length A. Okay, and length A for our example problem is 7 1/16. And then the measures for B are from the middle of the circle to the middle of the next circle of all these circles that are cut out here in the piece of metal. So from the middle of the first circle to the very edge is 7 1/16 inch. From the middle of the circle to the middle of the next circle is our measure B, and it is 5 5/64 inches. Which measure is bigger, my A or my B? What are you going to look at, the picture or the actual numbers? The actual numbers, right? So this is not a drawing that's drawn to scale, okay? Because if you look at measure A from the middle of the circle to the outside, it is 7 inches and some extra, right? And the middle of the circle to the middle of the next circle is 5 inches and some extra, okay? So what is bigger, 7 or 5? 7. So this length right here is actually bigger. It's just not drawn bigger because this is just a representation, okay? Not drawn to scale, meaning that the picture exactly mimics the measure of the actual item. Okay? So in this case, we want to know how far it is from one side to the other side. So the length of this piece of metal that we need to make these 4 holes in. We only know the measure of A and the measure of B. So we have, you can look here and see that we have 2 A measurements, right? So 2 A measurements, that makes sense because that's my end measurement from the last circle to the end piece. And then we have 3 B measurements here in the middle. So to figure out what C is, we're going to have to add 2 A's together and add 3 B's together. That's where this equation comes in right here. Okay, you could just put 7 1/16 plus 5 5/64 plus 5 5/64 plus 5 5/64 plus 7 1/16. You can make it just an addition problem. That's fine. Okay, that's just typing in a lot of fractions. Whereas if you put it in a simplified version like this, you only have to type the fractions in once each. Okay? So 2 times 7 and 1/16, and 3 times 5 and 5/64. Now, hint, and I forgot to tell last class, but they didn't, I don't know if they were having problems with it or not, but when you have a mixed number, okay, like this, you can't put this on the calculator. You have to put a plus sign in between, otherwise it multiplies. Okay, so if you are not putting a plus sign between it and putting it in parentheses, then the calculator will automatically multiply it.
I can't use my phone because I have a fraction calculator on it.
So that's fine.
See, this one.
So if it'll do it, yeah, that's fine too. Okay, so just know that you won't be able to use the fraction or your calculator like that on the test. So you might want to practice with the other one just to get some practice with it for the test purposes.
All right.
Okay. So mixed numbers, put them in the calculator like this. Now, so all the work is shown here for you, right? 2 times 7 and 1/16 equals 14 and 1/8. 3 times 5 and 5/64 equals this one. Okay, so add them all together. You get this answer. Okay. You can put fractions or decimals in for your answers on the Go Formative today. It will take either one. It tells you to round to the appropriate decimal place for each question. So just pay attention if you choose to use decimals. Fractions are more accurate, and if it does have a easy fraction to put in there, then that's also an option. Okay. Some of the fractions are not typical measurements. Anything with a bigger denominator than 64 is not a typical measurement that you use for measuring things. 64 is usually the smallest measurement that's used when you're measuring things. So anything larger than that on the bottom, it's usually done as a decimal. Just FYI. Okay. So you will use that information, okay, to help you with these problems. So 1 is exactly like the example up here, just gives you different measures for A and B. Number 2, you are solving for A. It gives you the equation, and it gives you C and B that you're going to plug into the equation. 3, you're solving for B, okay, but again, it gives you the equation. So you're not having to rearrange any equations. It gives it to you, and it gives you the information that you need to solve the equations. Now 4 and 5 are different because it is the other side. So it's actually wanting the width. Okay. Oops. It's wanting the width of this piece of metal, not the length of it. Okay, so X is the longer one. So X equals 2Y, which is what it tells you for number 5. Okay, and Y is half of X. That's what 4 tells you. So it gives you the equations there as well and gives you the information that you need. Okay. So that's how you're going to do these problems on the first page. Make sure that you read problem number 7. You have to come up with your own area formula based on the information up here. Okay, and then calculate how much wasted area there was. Okay, so read the problem there. Okay. On the back side, okay, you have a circular piece of steel plate that is 3 inches in diameter. So a diameter goes all the way through it. So it's 3 inches across. Okay. Each side of this square is 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75 inches, right? So when we're doing area for a circle is pi r squared. We were only given the diameter. So how do I figure out what the radius is?
Divide by 2.
2. Divide the diameter by 2. It gets the radius. So here, the diameter is 3 inches, so the radius would be 1.5. That's where this 1.5 came from. Okay, so pi 3.14 times 1.5 squared. Don't forget the square, guys. Okay, then when you put that in your calculator, you get this answer. You should. The area of the cutout, this one is a square. It tells you that all the sides are the same. It's a square. So 0.75 squared gives you this area here. So use this information and this picture to help you with this page. So this is the only page of this packet that we're working on today. Okay, so once that you are done with those, if you have something else you need to get made up for me or get put in GoFormative, then use your time to get that done. Okay, and we will finish this this assignment packet tomorrow. Okay, we're taking 2 days on this one because it's longer.